Well, we're at the expo for the 35th Crim Festival of Races with one of Michigan's elite athletes. His name is Eric Green. And Eric, you are the 2010 Michigan Runner of the Year. You had quite a year last year. What do you think the highlight was?
It's this year, winning the award this year, because the year before I was top master, so this award this year was a lot tougher. It was a little bit more rewarding.
Yeah, a lot tougher. I think Scott Sullivan did it best. You have to be talented and tenacious. You had to drive a few places.
Yeah, and that's what made it a lot tougher this year. Was you know, with your family commitments, I didn't have to have too much of a commitment when I went to the races the year before as a Masters, but wanting to really win the series this year, I had to go a little bit further than some of the races that I didn't go to a year before. So.
Well, you had quite a few great performances, and we saw you, among others, at Steve's run last year. How did that one go?
That wasn't as memorable as some of the ones in the past. A couple of years I took a really bad tumble, but this year we had a clean start, and I ended up running faster than I did the year before. So, and I even placed the place better. So.
That's pretty cool too. Well, when I first met you, you were running the Crim 8 mile, and you basically owned it. When did you finally decide to run the 10 mile?
I think I ran the 8K, I think 12 times, and I always used it as a warm-up for, I mean, you know, as a college runner and as a college coach, you always do the 8K, so my summer training was gauged on what I did that summer. So I always did the 8K, and I always either won the thing overall or always won my age group. So I've got like 12 Crim tracks, and everybody kept on telling me, well, why don't you go and do the 10 mile? I said, well, if I go to 10 mile, I'm probably not going to get a Crim plaque and keep my streak. So, but when I actually turned 40, I finally took the plunge to take the 10 mile because it was a totally different age group. That I wasn't competing against all the open runners, and that's when I found success. Is that even though I wasn't in the top 3, I still had a good chance of placing in my age group and still continuing to get Crim plaques.
So you got one, didn't you?
Oh yeah, last year was the first time I didn't get a Crim plaque because I was top 3, so I got a nice crystal award.
A big one.
A big one, yeah, and it also came with $500, so I was happy about that.
Money too.
Oh, hey, anytime you get money at road races, yeah.
Well, Eric, one of the things that distinguishes you from a lot of other runners is that you do well at everything from a 400-meter indoor track to the marathon. How do you do it? How do you get speed at so many different distances?
Well, I didn't start doing the longer marathon stuff till I was 32. I mean, I'm 43 now. Before then, I always did 5Ks. And then I was successful, but every time I kept on getting beat in the 5Ks, I'd move up to the 10K and start beating a lot of people. And then once people started catching 10K, so I kept on gradually building up till I finally took the plunge and to run my first marathon, the free press in 2000, and saw how successful I was. And it's addictive. I mean, I've run 11 straight free press marathons ever since. So.
And last year's free press was one of your best.
Yeah, it was my best. In fact, I was 5th overall. I was top Masters. I've always been top 3 Masters, but never won it overall. My best place finish before then was 10th place, and this year was 5th. Last year was 5th. So, and the money was good too. So.
And money again. Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I almost ran a personal best. But what made it really special was being asked by Jordan Deslitz, the winner, who asked me if I would pace him because he never ran a marathon before. So I said, hey, I'm going 6-minute pace. I mean, I'd be honored to pace you, and I paced him through 16, 18 miles before he felt really good and said, okay, I'm going to take off, and he just left us hanging there. But I still came close running my personal best, and I was so happy to see him win his first marathon in a debut.
A debut marathon, and he won it. That's pretty good. Well, Eric, of all the different distances that you run, what's your favorite?
It would have to be probably the marathon.
You don't really get to run that many of them, so.
No, I only run maybe 2 a year. I try to get a spring one and try to get a fall one. I haven't done Boston. I did one Boston. I did that in 2001, and that was my second marathon ever. I mean, I'd like to go back, but you know, it's at a bad time. So, but another spring marathon I've been doing has been Glass Cities. So I've been doing Glass Cities marathon in the spring, and then I'll do the fall marathon, which has always been the free press.
Well, one more thing I want to mention is you've been a real active member of the Frontline Racing team. In fact, right now you're the head honcho. And we see you always running in the green and white or blue and white Frontline singlets. How's that going?
Well, it's been a struggle this year. Taking over the presidency from Relay Fred, who did a really good job recruiting and getting the teams together. When I was president this year, I can understand why Fred had such a hard time trying to continue, you know, the program. Well,
between the two of you, you've really recruited a lot of the top distance runners in the country who just happen to live in Michigan.
Yeah, it's one thing about Frontline is that a lot of people are complaining that we never meet together and go for group runs. A lot of times we only see each other when we decide to compete at races, and if it's a relay, we'll get 4 or 5 top guys saying, okay, I'm going to do a relay, you know, and we'll run the front line. And what makes it tough to keep our club together is that we're a no-dues club. Otherwise, everybody pays their entry fee. We survive on donations for the singlets we get. And if we get enough money, we try to help go to some of the major races that are, you know, out of state, like the USA track and field races.
Well, you've got several championships under your belt and USATF cross-country races in December, and so those are always fun to go to because you always expect to see a lot of really fast frontline runners. So it's real cool.
Yeah, we have a really good group. Also, a lot of our success have been with the Master and Grandmaster runners. We've had a lot of them do very successful, represent, you know, the state of Michigan and Frontline at some of the big major races in the state. I mean, Doug Goodhue is one of them. He's been as a Grandmaster, and then a lot of the Masters runners. We've had Paul Offenberg with us, Mike Scannell, Tracy Loken, all those top 40 runners who are the top in their age group in the country, being able to represent us and do really well at these USA track and field races. So that's where we're getting a national exposure. So.
Well, Eric, I have to congratulate you for being able to run with those guys, and we look forward to seeing you and Paul and Tracy running tomorrow at the Crim 10 mile. We're at the 35th Crim Festival of Races with one of the mainstays of this race, Lisa Veneziano. Lisa, you've run the Crim quite a few times. Do you know how many?
I was just going to say, I was hoping that you would know because I've lost track. Actually, when I first started running the Crim, it was the 8K. I didn't even start with the 10 mile. It was in the days before I had done marathons and really gotten into the longer distances. So I started with the 8K, and now definitely the only thing I'm going to run is the 10 mile. So.
Well, Lisa, you've been one of the most accomplished runners in Michigan, even though you took a little detour to Ohio for a while. So we are really delighted to be able to present you with the Michigan Runner of the Year Award for Master Runners.
Thank you very much.
And we'll do some interview stuff.
We're still rolling.
All right.
Well, Lisa, I think the first time I met you was when you won the Free Press Marathon, and I'll never forget what you said. You were kind of surprised. You said, I never expected to win. Was that one of your early marathons?
Yeah, that was probably the first big marathon that I had ever won, and actually it's still the biggest marathon that I've ever won. And no, I never expected to win that day, but you know how it goes. You go out and you have a good day, and things click and come together. So I still remember that. I remember you. You were excited for me, which was very cool.
Yeah, it was. It was fun to actually meet the winner in an early stage. And there's some other races in Michigan that you've done very well in for many years, and that one of them was Bayshore.
Yep, I won Bayshore a couple of times. Yeah, and that's a favorite too. That's a great course and just a great weekend, start of the summer and all. So, yep, I've done pretty well there. I haven't been back to Bayshore for quite a while because that's a later marathon. It's kind of tough to fit it into the schedule. And especially when I moved to Ohio, it was a little bit too difficult to make it all the way to Traverse City. So.
Well, speaking of Ohio, one of the other things that you practically own is the Arnold Pump and Run. Now, tell us about what it is to lift weights in competition.
Well, that's a fun one because you not only get to run, but you get to, show your strength if you have it. Well, you basically bench press your weight before you run, and if you can do 30 reps, then you get the maximum amount of time off. And so that's the whole concept. And I don't lift a lot of weights, but I think I have some natural strength, and I try to bench press maybe once a week and do some push-ups, and that works for me. So I'm able to max out the 30 reps, and then I run pretty good, so that all comes together.
Have you ever met Arnold?
Yes, Arnold, every year, and I've been in some pictures with him at the start of the race, and actually just cordial, meet and greet. So.
Well, speaking of family events, your husband, Jay Owens, he's a pretty fast runner, but you beat him sometimes, don't you?
I try to beat him every time we go out. But yeah, he's pretty good too. The competition between us really helps a lot.
Do you train together?
Yep, we do, as much as we can. We usually work out in the mornings before we go to work, and that's usually in our basement on our treadmills. But on the weekends, yeah, we definitely train together. Yeah.
Well, it's fun to see both of you out there, and look forward to seeing you run fast tomorrow. One of Michigan's elite runners is Jackie Rzepecki, and she's among the people who's listed as a Michigan elite runner at the Crim tomorrow. Jackie is our Michigan Runner of the Year. She's our female runner of the year, which meant that you ran more races faster than any other women in Michigan last year.
So, I did. It was exciting. It was fun to get that award this year.
Yeah, you had a great season, and you actually won 2 races outright. I believe it was Corktown and the Milford race?
Yes, correct. Yeah, both of them, yeah.
And Corktown is one that you've won more than once.
Yeah, a couple times I've been out there to run it. It's a great way to start off the season. I really like doing that 5K in the beginning of March there.
Well, so what's interesting is that you're winning at the 5K distance and at the 30K distance, and you really could win most marathons in Michigan at the marathon distance. So how do you do those different distances?
Well, really the longer distance are my strong suit. However, in the spring I just try to get ready for the 5K stuff and focus on shorter distance in the winter months. And then Milford was really preparation for Chicago, and that works as I think a key race in fall marathon training is to do that race.
Well, it's a nice tune-up, and it's positioned about the right time, and you came really close in qualifying for the trials. Are you going to be trying it again?
I am. I'm going to be trying again in Chicago again this year. I was only 17 seconds off last year, so I'm really hoping to break that barrier this year. One more try.
That must have been a tough couple of last miles, knowing that you were close but not quite there.
You know, it actually worked reverse for me at Chicago. I actually went out too slow, and so I negative split where my last mile was 6:06, where I needed like 6:15 pace. So I came out strong. I went out of the gun too slow, and so I just didn't have enough time to make up for it.
So that's one of the things that's hard about the marathon is you really don't get that many chances to practice it.
No, you really don't. I tried again in Houston in January, but it just wasn't my day from the get-go. And you know, last year at Chicago, I played it conservative with the weather. I probably shouldn't have in hindsight, but you never know with the marathon. You never know you're gonna get thrown at you during the race.
Well, Jackie, given the long distance that you typically do, what are some of the ways you train to be as fast as you are at the marathon?
Well, when I initially came out here, I ran with the Hanson's program, so I really stay with their philosophy and train very similar to what they did and what they followed, but I do a lot of just the strength training, a lot of distance, like 100-mile weeks and stuff, seems to help me the best.
What do you think about on those long miles?
I daydream a lot, and luckily there's a lot of people in the Rochester area I would live with to really kind of take the miles through and really just kind of keep the boredom away. So there's really not much thinking. It's just really kind of either sleeping or talking with friends.
Well, Well, Jackie, one of the fun things that I remember is last fall at the Brooksy Way,
Oh, yeah.
you were taking photographs, and we had kind of a fun story to follow.
Yeah, that was a great day. It was kind of fun just to be out there to kind of spectate, take photos, and to watch Shane try something that no one's ever tried before with the marathon, and drinking while running, which was very interesting.
It was interesting. Shane Logan drank a beer every mile.
He did. He drank a beer every mile and still ran under an hour 30, which is very impressive. 13 beers, 13 miles, and it was all recorded, so they got every mile just to make sure it was a legit record, and it was quite amazing that he did that.
And he was very happy at the end, and not only that, he had a ride home.
Yes, he did have a ride home. Yes, he was covered and got a big breakfast to absorb everything afterwards.
Yeah, it was kind of a funny twist on that whole event, but it's not often you get to be on the other side of the tape.
No, it's really great to be out there and to be able to give back to what the crowds give to you when you get to race. So it was a really fun experience to be able to watch that right before my race. Kind of hypes you up for your marathon the next day.
Well, Jackie, we're very excited to be following you in Chicago this year, and we hope you hit under that 2:46 magic number.
Yes, I hope so too. 2:45.59 is what I'm hoping for.
Or even better.
Yes, even better. I'll take anything under 2:46.
Well, thank you so much for being here, and good luck at the 10 mile tomorrow.
Thank you very much. Can't wait to see you guys out there.